So today we're going to be doing the Wuchi Last Rites foam latex prosthetic. And it's a really cool piece, and we've got the kit that you can get with it, and that comes with everything you see here, and I've added a few things. So it comes with this really cool rubber mask grease palette, which is called the Zombie #2 RMG palette. RMG stands for rubber mask grease. We've got a little brush set, and this is great for a one-time use thing. It comes with some Bond Off, some Prosthetic adhesive, a medical adhesive to glue the piece, some 99% alcohol, a couple regular sponges, what's called a black stipple sponge, some colorless powder, a powder puff, and then we've got the prosthetic. So we're going to unbox this. And you can see one of the eyes are still attached. I've already popped out one. So what I want to do here is I want to tear very careful. I'm going to pinch and I'm going to pull. And I'm going to remove the piece. And I pinch the side that I don't want to rip, that I want to keep intact, and that way it doesn't rip into the piece. And what I'm doing is I'm getting little fine jagged edges here. And this is allowing the piece to, when I go to glue it on, it'll look really nice. So I can then kind of do the same with any of the excess flashing. These little bits aren't needed. And then the piece will be ready to go. And what's nice about this piece is the edge is going to be hidden in the folds of the cheek, like between the nose and the cheek. And that's what's going to really make this piece look great, is you're not going to have to worry about hiding edges in the middle of the face as much. But we're going to start this the way we start most prosthetics, is we want to line it up. And we want to get a powder line for the center. So now you can see we've got a bit of a powder line, so now we can do what we call the hinge method. We're going to draw a line of glue in the center. I'm not going to get too crazy around the eyebrows because that's difficult to remove, and I'm not going to put glue to the powder line. So we're going to do, with the hinge method, we start, we glue the center, and then we work outward both directions. So again, I'm keeping about 1/16 of an inch, 1/4 inch from where I know the piece stops. Press it in. So it's on there pretty good. And again, I'm not going to go to the edge. I'm not going to go to his eyebrow. I'm just going to work my way out. You can see this piece has a lot of definition. It's really one of my more favorite Wuchi pieces. start the edges. I'm going to start on this side because I'm here. Just lift it down. Just flop it up. So I'm going to put the back of a brush, roll it in a lot of powder. And this way, if I need to, I can just take the brush and roll the prosthetic up and nothing's going to stick to it because the glue I'm going over a little bit. So now I want to get around the eye area. And keep your eyes closed. Just want to let you know to open. And this is where the tip of the brush and powder helps. And you want them to keep their eyes closed at this point because you don't want them to glue their eyes open. Before I continue, I want to just... Now I pulled that down because I don't want his eyelashes to get stuck in there. So by pulling this down, I'm pulling the glue away from his eyelashes and I'm powdering. And I still want him to keep his eyes closed, but I went a little too high with the glue and I just want to, just for safety. So one trick you can do is you can use a little 99% alcohol to fix any wrinkles. And there's a little wrinkle here. I've got a little spritzer, but I'm just going to spritz a Q-tip. I'm going to use it to reconstitute the glue and pull everything. Kind of brush that down and see if that helps my wrinkle. So as that evaporates, it'll actually stick a little bit better. So now a trick that a lot of people don't do is when you're doing foam, you want to kind of seal the foam. So we're going to take a little bit of the medical adhesive, also known as Prosthetic, and we're going to stipple it all over the foam. I'm not going to get too close to his eyes because we're going to be using some... we don't want to get the glue back there, but this gives us a nice even surface. Seals the edges down too. Okay, so we're going to let this dry a bit, and we want this to dry really well. And it'll air dry within a minute. And then I'm going to completely powder them. I want to make sure there's no little spot here that from where we use the alcohol. Just going to seal that in. And now I want to powder this really heavily. You can actually hear it sticking to the piece when you're doing it in person. Okay, so now I've got it on there, it's sealed, and move your face around a bit. You can see it, it's really got some good movement. Close your eyes again, please. Okay, so we're ready to make them up now. So I'm going to be using the Zombie #2 rubber mask grease palette that comes with the application kit, and here are the colors. So we're going to make him just a green zombie. This is going to be a character. We're not trying to go for, like, you know, something so realistic as much as, you know, a typical horror movie zombie. So we're going to base him out in green. We're not going to do his whole head for this how-to video just because I don't want him to have to spend hours and hours cleaning up. So we're just going to kind of do it from here forward. I might fade some stuff out. But when you do this, you want to get in the ears and really get every little nook and cranny. But for his comfort, we're not going to. So we're going to start with this green. Yeah. We're going to start with the green. Sorry. There's this much glue on it. And we're going to really get, I like to start at these edges and really get nice and heavy. What's nice about a dark color is it really helps hide the edges. If this was a lighter color, if we went with, like, say, the white, it would show up more. And this is really a greasy makeup, so really powder them good. You can always remove the excess, but we won't have to. We want him to look dry. I know it looks like I'm smacking him hard, but this is really, I'm just really making sure it's set. Because this is a grease paint. Look straight ahead, please. The powder's also letting a lot of the texture come through. This piece actually has an amazing amount of texture. It might be my favorite Wuchi piece so far. Alright, so I'm going to give him another quick powder. Okay, so now I want to do some shadows or highlights. On some makeups we really model the skin. On this one we're going to wait till the very end and we're going to give it a texture color. So I think to start we're going to go in with some black and do a little bit of shading. Sorry, it's okay. So you can see when he gets an itch, he taps it, he doesn't scratch it. It not only gets rid of the itch, but then it doesn't ruin the makeup. We're going to go with this sponge. I think it's going to be a little bit better though. brush to start. Got an itch?
Yeah, it's not so good.
You need to get it. Picking his nose for YouTube. Okay, so we're blending it out. We're going to go over this with a few more colors by the time we're done. What's nice is this piece has the shadows and highlights sculpted in it for you. Because there's high spots and low points. So it's not like just doing a face painting. And once we powder it, it's going to blend a lot better too, which is nice. So I'm dragging these shadow lines over the edge of the prosthetic. And if you turn it this way, at least now you're starting to lose the prosthetic edge because you're getting things crossing it. And that's a really important trick that you're going to need to do when applying prosthetics. And you can actually use kind of the box for a guide. It's got some of these shadows already on them. And we'll get up under his eyes at the end. Look straight ahead, please. Look towards me a little bit more. Thank you. Look a little bit straight. It's not perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and add some highlights. You can do the highlights first or last. It just depends the effect you're getting. I have a plan in mind, so I'm kind of waiting to do some of these highlights till right about now. And I'm going to use this whitish color. I ripped my sponge purposely so I get a little bit of texture. Not stipple sponge texture, because that I'm going to do later. And I want to get most of this off. That way, please. I'll highlight the jawline a little bit too. And again, I'm dragging down because I don't want to accidentally lift up this piece. It's a little heavy, but some of these heavier highlights I'm going to sponge over in a second. So by highlighting here, it's made the shadows look a little bit deeper. Now, if I want, I can do a couple things. I can take a clean sponge and just kind of stipple over everything, and it's going to kind of blend everything out. But now as I step back, I mean, you've got all these nice lines here. And I want to bring that shadow down a little bit. Because then I can bring this highlight again. I need to really... really want to hide this edge, so I'm really going to go past it. So I want to give him like some really dark around the eyes, almost black. Hey, close your eyes, please. So for the lips, I think we're going to give him some red cracked lips. So just okay, and blot your lips. Okay, so we're then gonna powder close your mouth. And then we're gonna go over, have him pucker real tight. I want to do this a little watching you relax. So you can see he's got these big cracks with reds and black. And some creases. We're going to work up. And just touch up anything that needs maybe some extra shadow or highlight along here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to step back for a second and take a look, and I want to give him some texture, and maybe let me add a little bit more red to his lips. So now I'm going to go and I want to give him a little bit of texture. This is one of my favorite little tricks. And I'm going to use this yellow, which you're probably thinking that's crazy talk, but don't need a lot. But this, very lightly over the whole thing, we're going to blend it out. This is going to hide every little potential edge that we don't want anybody to see. I'm going to take one of my sponges that has the green on it, and I'm just going to do this. What this is doing, as you can see, I'll do it to 1/2 first. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. But you'll see, like when you go to take photos or if it's on film and it's lit with lighting that's made for, for a film or a horror movie, or even at a club. And now I'm going to powder one more time. So the only thing left to do if we want, and we're going to do that just for fun, is FX Warehouse sells all kinds of bloods. There's gel blood that's really nice, and then there's some bloods that don't even dry. And I like using the black stipple sponge. And we're just gonna make it look like he's been eating. Kind of like what you did on some other zombies here, but again, not too much blood. We just want to give the illusion, that he's been feasting a little bit. So there you go. This is the Wuchi foam prosthetic, the last Rites, which is, I really, really love this prosthetic, especially the texture in the forehead. And the only thing I added extra was a little bit of blood that is optional. It comes with the red, but if you're out or for a film, you may want to throw some blood in. And I'm using this blood that actually dries and stays looking wet. But she's got probably, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe even a dozen types of blood. Anyway, this is it.